John Bond. I'm the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. I'm from Rogers, Arkansas, and I played college football at the University of Arkansas. The biggest factor that brought me to UMass was the opportunity to work for Coach Molnar and be in a little bit of different type offensive system than what I've been accustomed to. For the last probably 18 or 19 years, I've been in the same, certainly passing game-wise, certainly the same type of offense with similar calls year in, year out for those number of years. And I thought it was a bit an opportunity to grow a little bit. I thought that I had an opportunity to maybe get out of my comfort zone a little bit, which I have been, and it's allowed me to see some new things. I've been a coordinator for so long and a quarterback coach for so long. I was excited about the opportunity to maybe see things from a little bit different perspective and maybe grow a little bit too as a coach. In recruiting, we all have our own areas, and for me, we're trying to make a push into Georgia. So many people now have gone into the Atlanta metro area, and we're trying to, and all the MAC is in there as well, so we're trying to make a little bit of a push. For me, as a quarterback coach, the things in particular that I'm looking for in a quarterback are number one, is he accurate? Because really, if you don't have a quarterback that is an accurate passer, you don't have a passing game. It doesn't matter how strong an arm, how quick of release, how tall, how fast. None of those things matter if you can't throw completion. So for me, that's the number one factor in trying to find a quarterback, is how accurate he is. And then number two, is he tough? You know, and that tough doesn't just mean on the field. I mean, how does he handle, an interview like this? How does he handle the media? How does he handle his teammates? Is he tough? Is he thick-skinned when things don't always go his way? And certainly the obvious, being a tough. I tell him you got to be the toughest guy on the team. You got to be able to stand there and throw the ball and take the hit and get up and go again. So those are probably the two biggest things that I look for in watching film and trying to evaluate a high school quarterback.
Zipping wrist, 2 hands on the ball. Zipping wrist, that's it. 20, go to the left.
Coach Lou Holtz, obviously I played for Coach Holtz at Arkansas. I was a young guy. That was my first time to ever be around coaching, was around Coach Holtz, and I would consider him a mentor. Ken Hatfield came into Arkansas, and I was a graduate assistant under him, and learned a completely different way of doing things, and certainly a different personality. And I would consider him a mentor as well. Joe Novak at Northern Illinois, I learned a lot from Coach Novak. Bill Curry, my last coach at Georgia State, what a great guy he is. So I've tried to take something from everybody that I've been under and try to take what I like, and then maybe some of the things you don't necessarily agree with, and try to build them into your overall philosophy. So I'd like to believe that every guy that I've worked for, I've learned something under. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I try to give guys is just to be accountable. I mean, especially, again, I go back to playing quarterback. I mean, if you're going to be a true leader, if you're going to be a leader of guys, you've got to be able to be accountable. You've got to be able to take responsibility, and sometimes being a leader is taking the blame when it's not your fault. Starting a program from scratch at Georgia State, our first day, we didn't have a staff table. We didn't have, all we had was chairs to pull up in a circle and meet. We didn't have grease pens, we didn't have a grease board, we didn't have a football helmet, we didn't have a football, we didn't have anything. And it's a little bit, there are some similarities. I mean, people really don't understand how big a job it is to go from 1AA to 1A. I mean, first of all, you're down 22 scholarships right off the bat. And second of all, the caliber of competition that you're playing is so different that it is a huge adjustment. It's a big adjustment, and more than anything, it's just probably the biggest thing you've got to try to teach is just the mentality of how you approach each day, each practice with the competition you're about to face. And I think these guys did a great job in recruiting last year, and I think that we're on track to have a really good recruiting class coming up this fall. And I don't think it's going to take long to get this program where everybody wants it, but it's just going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, and understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. Well, my wife's name is Jenny. We've been married for 13 years. We have 3 kids: Mackenzie, who's 11, Mallory, who's 9, Brody, who's 6, and great kids. Love them to death. We got nice family. We as far as balance goes with the football coaches, it's hard to have a lot of balance, because the standard joke is when you say goodbye in August is we'll see you in December, and that's kind of how it is, because even when you're home sometimes you're really not home, because you're thinking about the game, you're thinking about plays, you're thinking about ways to make first downs and touchdowns. So a lot of times you're not there even when you are there. But I try to do a good job of not taking the office home. I try to do a good job of you know, when I am there, to try to, certainly with young children, you try to give them attention and all that. So I try to do as good a job as I can, balanced during the year. And then when it's not season, you're able to, you know, travel and do some things, and got lots of wiffle ball games in the backyard, and swim, you know, go swimming and whitewater and all the things that you typically do with your family. Love to hunt. Grew up hunting. Love to fish. Grew up fishing. Again, with the time of the year and the way the football season falls, it kind of falls along the same time as hunting season, so it's not, you don't get a chance to do that very often. So if I get to go once or twice a year, that's probably about the best I'm going to do. And then summertime, it's vacation time, so it doesn't, if you know, you're trying to be somewhat of a family man, it's hard to say I'm going to play golf, which takes forever, or go fishing, you know, so that kind of cuts into your fishing time as well. So love to hunt, love to fish, but don't get to do either very much.